Hello and welcome to another short drawing lesson. This week we've had a request for the Classic Range Rover from 1970, as old as me. First thing we'll do is a front wheel over here. And next a second wheel, 2 wheels further back. So there's 1, 2 and another one. Next we've got some long straight lines to do. This is going to be the front of the car. The first straight line starts just a little bit ahead of the front wheel and extends a little bit further out the back, and it sits just on the tops of those wheels. Missed a bit. Next, we need the second one, which is just a bit higher than the centres of the wheels, parallel to the first one. The next one's going to be the same distance as that above and the same length as the first one. And one last one starts just behind the front wheel and is a bit smaller, so the gap's going to be a bit smaller than these two. Next, we need the overhangs for the car. At the back, we need about 1 wheel, just under maybe, and a slightly overhanging line there. At the front, we need about 1/3 of a wheel, a vertical line in there. And if you imagine this line continuing behind the wheel for a bit, and then tilting out, that's kind of where that line would head. At the front, just a slight angle. Got a slight angle on there. Another one on there. And this section here has just got the tiniest slope on it. If it's horizontal, it won't matter probably. But it has got the tiniest little angle on there. Next, we can do the door. So just a bit ahead of this back wheel, we've got a vertical line. Another one at the front, but this gap here needs to be bigger at the front, so about there. And this will tell us where the windscreen starts. And at the back, we've got a slope, and it's flatter than this one. It's not quite the same angle, I think. Maybe it's the same. It's close. And it's a parallel pair of lines. For the height of the windscreen, it's about the height of one of your wheels. So imagine a wheel stuck here. That will give you the height of your screen. And it's not completely horizontal. You've got a slight curve in it. So you can use the sweep of your arm to give it a tiny curve. And it will need some thickness. So you can do that in the same way. The windscreen will need a tiny bit of thickness as well, not much. And the bonnet. There's our basic outline. We do need a pillar in here which has got a slight tilt on it. And this angle here is the same for this join here. And we also need a join in the window at the side here. And the angle is kind of halfway between those two. So now we can do the fun stuff. We'll do the ground. As it's an off-road car, we'll make the ground lumpy. The shadow on the ground. And we'll show the wheels on the far side of the car, and also all the gubbins underneath, the mechanical stuff, and some mud flaps. Bumpers, of course, we need those sticking out here and there, and these classic details, the lights that are set into that central section. The front one's actually divided in half. Got a bonnet join there with a badge behind. A very distinctive kind of door handle sort of feature with a keyhole. And in here we've got some seats. A couple of rows of seats. Steering wheel. Dashboard. And the spare wheel you can see poking up there. And also you'll be able to see under the roof up inside there. So that's kind of your basic stuff. Now we can try and make the drawing look a bit nicer, do some shading. So anything under the car, that's all going to be dark, isn't it? So we'll shade that in. I'm going to go for vertical shading, so keep all my hatching pretty much going in the same direction. For man-made objects, it's generally good to have some kind of tidy scheme for your shading. Otherwise, it will start to look a bit too random. So on the ground here, which isn't man-made, we can do our hatching in every direction and it will look more kind of natural. You can even add a few pieces of grass and some rocks. But for man-made stuff, it's generally best just to keep your shading orderly. This section here is black, and the seats inside, and the spare wheel, and of course the pillar on the far side of the car. All of that you'd see a little bit of, and the underside of the roof. I'm rushing this a little bit just to make it a shorter video, but I'll probably take a bit more time over that usually, but there we go. Got a vent here with a couple of strips across, and some rear view mirrors that in these days are at the front. There's windscreen wiper. And I think in this case we'll put a bit of detail in the front wheels. So they've got 5 spokes, but you don't need to draw all 5. And we'll put some tiny notches around the edges of that tyre, and that will just suggest that it's an off-road tyre rather than a road tyre. And also we'll do the wheel arches. I don't often do them for the road cars, but in this case they're quite separated from the wheel, so it makes sense that we can see up there. Just reinforces that it's an off-road car. So they're just sort of 3 curving sections. They're mostly the same front and back, except at the back here, this last section is a bit flatter. And the very last of all, I think I'll put a few marks here just to show that this car's been used. And there's our Range Rover. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments how you got on and if there's a car you'd like me to try next. Otherwise, like and subscribe. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you again soon.